Hello, please tell me that I am audible and visible to you. There was some technical issue happened at our end. Please confirm in the chat. Please let me know if you can see me. Yes, it is working. Yes, thank you. It's working now. So today we are going to discuss the full length paper, and this paper is from one of our ABHYAS test series. So if you are part of ABHYAS test series, then you can watch this video for the solution. If you are not part of our ABHYAS test series, then you can definitely obviously you have to look for it, because this is a free resource from where you can prepare. Also, after the lecture is over, you will get the full PDF for download. For that you have to join our WhatsApp channel. So let's start with the session, because obviously we are late because none of the issues that are intended by me or by you. So let's start. First question. A student measured the diameter of a wire using a screw gauge with the least count of 0.001 centimeter and listed the measurements. The correct measurement is, so which one of these is a correct measurement? The least count is 0.001 centimeter. Which one is the correct measurement? Let's see who can answer. Shami, if you think that ABHYAS is a scam, you can report it to the corresponding authority. There is a email ID. If you have not purchased it, you are not sure that what it is, okay? More than 1,000 students are using it, and we have produced results using ABHYAS. So if you think it is a scam, either I will block you, okay, because I think you are not a student of this channel, okay. You will not get the exact question from here, but yes, you will definitely get similar questions, okay. This is we are not saying that the exact question will come in the exam. Obviously we cannot do that, but yes, you can expect similar questions be coming in your exam. For example, this is a very common experimental type of question. Yes, option C is correct. Why option C is correct? Because here it is mentioned that the least count is 0.001. That means you can measure up to 3 decimal points. You can measure up to 3 decimal points. So that means the correct measurement is 5.320, okay, not 5.32, even though there is a 0 at the end, okay. It has to be there in the measurement because your least count is 0.001, okay. You might think that, sir, this 0 is not significant, we can ignore it, because the least count is 0.001. To show that it is actually measuring up to 3 digit, you have to write your answer as 0.320, okay. Clear? Where is the answer? No, answer is not here. Answer is not here, only questions are here. Shami, if you have made the payment, that's what I am saying. You can send your complaint to this ID. They will take care of it. Ask edutube@diksha.learning.com. Now there is a device limit, okay. You cannot use it in multiple devices. If you are using it on one mobile phone and one PC, I think that is the thing you can use it, not more than that. So if you are using it more than okay, so Shami, according to our information that we have already sent you a mail, okay, we are late to respond to you, sorry for that, but we have responded the mail. Please check your email once, because I got the information that you have received a mail. Please check once, okay. Yes, Shami, as I mentioned, you check your email. We are late to respond you, particularly you, but there is a mail to your email ID. Please check it once. Okay? You check your email once. Your registered email, you check. Answer below the, oh, okay, sorry. I have not seen that. Okay, answer is below the screen. Okay, I think I forgot to change it. Okay, don't look into here. Okay, I have to hide it. I have to hide the answer. Then only it will be possible. Okay, so what is the answer to this question? A car travels half the distance with constant velocity 40 km per hour and remaining half with the constant velocity 60 km per hour. I have to, let me scratch that. Okay, I will have to scratch it. With the constant velocity 60 km per hour, the average velocity of the car in kilometer per hour is. So what is the average speed? What is the average speed? How to calculate the average speed? To calculate average speed, you have to find the total distance traveled and total time taken. So what is the total average speed? Average speed, you have to calculate the distance traveled. How to calculate the distance traveled? Here it is given that total distance, suppose, is 2x. Then the first half it traveled with 40 km per hour and next half it traveled with 60 km per hour. Okay, so very easy to answer. Sometimes students do 40 plus 60, 100 divided by 2. That is not the way to solve it. You have to calculate the time for this part, time for this part, and the average velocity will be given by 2x divided by t1 plus t2. Okay, now what is t1? T1 is very simple. It is the distance divided by the speed. Okay, and t2 is same, distance divided by the speed. Now you have to put it over here. So 2x divided by x by 40 plus x by 60. Okay, this is the first PU question. So now you have to take the reciprocal of that. So 1 by 40 plus 1 by 60 is what? Is 120. 3 plus 2, that is 5 by 120. Okay, so you get here as 2x divided by 5x by 120. So this goes up and x cancels. You get 240 by 5. 240 by 5 means 48 km per hour. So correct answer is 48. So 48 is the answer for this question. Okay, now next. Okay, the latent heat of vaporization of a substance is always greater than its latent heat of fusion, greater than its latent heat of sublimation, equal to its latent heat of sublimation, less than the latent heat of fusion. So latent heat of vaporization, what is vaporization? When you apply heat to a liquid, it directly evaporates to give you vapor. Okay, so now what is the latent heat of fusion? Latent heat of fusion is when you heat a solid substance at this temperature, it just becomes a liquid, or if you extract the same amount of heat, the liquid becomes solid. That is, it fused to become a solid. Okay, so latent heat first is obviously, let us understand the process. Suppose we have a solid, it turns into a liquid and then it turns into a vapor. Okay, so this is latent heat of fusion. This is latent heat of sublimation, vaporization. And sublimation is a process when it directly converts from solid to vapor, which is a very rare process. It happens to certain substances, not all substances generally undergo like this. Okay, for example, one example is dry ice or a solid carbon dioxide, which directly converts from solid to vapor. It does not go under liquefaction process at all. Okay, because latent heat of sublimation is so small, okay, it can directly convert into vapor. So sublimation is basically where the latent heat is very, very small. Then only sublimation process can happen. But if now what is the relationship between fusion and vaporization. Remember that as temperature increases, generally for, let us take the example of water. Okay, for water, fusion happens at 0 degree Celsius and vaporization happens at 100 degrees Celsius. So higher the temperature, you require more amount of heat. Okay, higher the temperature, whenever it is happening at higher temperature, you require more amount of heat. So obviously latent heat of fusion is always less than latent heat of vaporization. Sublimation is even less than that as well. Okay, sublimation is even less than that. That's why small amount of heat can convert it into gas. So correct answer here is option A, greater than its latent heat of fusion. Option A is correct, Sahil. Most of you have answered correctly. You think one example, very simple example, that for water the latent heat of fusion, latent heat of vaporization is 80 calorie per gram, whereas latent heat of fusion is around 3600, okay, calorie per gram. So that means latent heat of fusion is always less than that of latent heat of vaporization. You just remember one example of water, that through that you can generalize for all other substances as well. Okay, now let's see this question again. Let me scratch the answer. Actually it was taken from a PPT. In PPT you can have the slideshow option, so you can hide this answer till the end and last you can show the answer, but unfortunately once you convert it into this format, that thing does not work. So the velocity versus time graph of a moving point is as shown in the figure. The maximum acceleration is, very interesting question. The maximum acceleration is, so here the velocity changes from here to here, again here, then it is constant, then it is falling like this. Now in KCET the same question can be asked, where is the maximum acceleration? A, B, B, C, C, D, D, E, E, F, like that also it is possible. So you have to understand that wherever there is a maximum slope, that will give you the maximum acceleration. Okay, now the question is talking about maximum acceleration. If you see here, this portion has maximum slope. It is decreasing from 60 to 0 within 30 seconds. Okay, but that is not acceleration. This portion is deceleration. This portion is deceleration. Okay, so if the we have to calculate that as well. So possibly they are asking you about positive acceleration or negative acceleration. That should have been mentioned in the question. Acceleration in general means when it is increasing, but maximum value of acceleration, magnitude of acceleration can be deceleration as well. So let's check. So here it is accelerating from 0 to 20 in 20 seconds. So what is the acceleration from A to B? Acceleration from A to B is change in velocity, that is 0 to 20, that is 20 minus 0 by the time taken, that is 20, that is 1 meter per second square. Now here B to C it's constant. Okay, velocity is constant, so acceleration is 0. So B to C acceleration is 0. What about C to D? So C to D, if you see, the acceleration is velocity changes from 20 to 60 in 10 seconds. So it changes from 20 to 60. So 60 minus 20 by 10, so which is 40 by 10, that is 4 meter per second square. Now you don't need to solve any more, because you will see that the options, in the options the highest value given here is 4 meter per second square. You are getting 4 meter per second square, so answer will be option B. If you calculate this one is, first of all, it's not acceleration, it is deceleration, and it is less than this 4 meter per second anyway. Okay, so this is the region where the acceleration is maximum. So correct answer will be 4 meter per second square, and the zone will be CD. Okay, so this question might be asked in your similar question might be asked in your KCET, where they will say the zone, they will not give you values. So be careful. If they give you the zone, you have to understand, if it is flat line, acceleration is 0. If it is where it is most steep means delta y by delta x. Delta y by delta x, that is the slope of the graph. Where the slope is maximum, that is maximum acceleration. Here slope is decreasing, so it is a negative acceleration. Okay, if the question also asks acceleration and deceleration, then I would have calculated this value. Okay, otherwise it is not required. Now, next question, the average kinetic energy of a gas molecule at 27 degrees Celsius is 6.21 into 10 to the power of 21 joules. Its average kinetic energy at 227 degrees Celsius will be. Average kinetic energy of a gas molecule given at 27 degrees Celsius is this much. What will be the average kinetic energy at 227 degrees Celsius? We have to use equipartition of energy. Equipartition of energy says that the kinetic energy per degree of freedom per molecule is given by half kBT. Right? Now here you don't need to calculate anything. Per degrees of freedom per molecule, suppose that constant, there will be a constant involved over here. Let us consider that constant is C. That constant will remain same for a given molecule. Okay, so we do not know the degree of freedom, we do not know the how many molecules are present, how many atoms are present in inside the molecule. So for that we have to use this as a constant K. Okay, constant K and not constant K, sorry, constant C. Okay, be very intelligent. So this is basically a ratio of temperature. Eventually it will be based on the ratio of temperature at 27 degrees Celsius. Okay, 27 degrees Celsius, T1 is 27 plus 273, that is 300 Kelvin. This conversion is required. This is the initial temperature. What is the final temperature? Final temperature is 227 degrees Celsius, that is plus 273 degrees, that is 500 degrees Celsius. So basically it will be a ratio of 300 and 500. Okay, so the initial energy is given 6.21 into 10 to the power of minus 21. Okay, now what is the final energy? The constant will remain same, the kBT will remain same. Only thing that will change is the temperature T2. We do not know this value. Suppose this value is X. We are trying to find the value of X. Now remember, kBT, you do not need to know the value of kBT, you do not need to memorize it. Only thing you need to remember that it's proportional to temperature. Now you divide it, obviously C by 2 kB, C by 2 kB cancels, you get T1 by T2 equals to 6.21 into 10 to the power of 21 divided by X. So X equals to T2 by T1 into 6.21 into 10 to the power of 21, minus 21, sorry, minus 21. So now put the value of T2, T2 is 500 and T1 is 300, right? So 0, 0 cancels into, into 6.21 into 10 to the power of minus 21. So now let's cancel this. We get 3 to the 6 and 0, 7. Okay, so 2.07 into 5, that is 10.35. 10.35 into 10 to the power of minus 21. So 10.35 into 10 to the power of minus 21. So option C is correct answer. So you don't need to remember kBT. You do not need to know how many degrees of freedom are there. You might be confusing, sir, how degrees of freedom is not given. Okay, number of atoms are not given. So don't worry. Okay, degrees of freedom is not required. You can simply cancel that out. That constant will be cancelling out. You just need to find the ratio of the temperatures. Very intelligent question. Carnot engine operates with the source, let me cancel that. Carnot engine operates with the source of 120 degrees Celsius and sink at 27 degrees Celsius. If the source supplies 40 kilojoule of heat energy, the work done by the engine is. So remember that in case of a Carnot engine, those who have checked my PU1 lecture, in case of Carnot engine, the cold temperature divided by hot temperature is equals to the heat which is rejected divided by heat which is supplied. Okay, and work done work done by the engine is heat that is supplied minus heat that is rejected. Okay, so this is the work done. This is the very basic formula. Efficiency of Carnot engine is given by 1 minus T cold by T hot. Okay, this is the efficiency. These are the formulas that you need to remember about Carnot engine. Everything else, any problem can be solved based on these equations. So T cold is given here as 27 degrees Celsius. So 273 plus 27 divided by 273 plus 127. Okay, equals to what is Q2 by Q1? Q2 is Q2 is not known, Q1 is known. Q1 is 40 kilojoules. Okay, 40 kilojoules. Supplies means heat is given to the system, so that is given here. So now let us calculate Q2. So it will be 300 divided by 300 plus 100, 400 equals to Q2 by 40 kilojoules. So 0, 0, 0 cancels, and you get Q2 equals to 40 into 3 by 4. So that is 30 kilojoules. 30 kilojoule heat is rejected. 30 kilojoule heat is rejected. That means what is the work done? 40 kilojoule you supplied, 30 kilojoule is rejected. So remaining 10 kilojoule must be converted into work. So the answer for this question is B. Okay, you can check the answer. Answer is B. No, not A. Kanaya, not A. Okay, B is the answer. B is the answer. Okay, you have to be careful. This is a very common type of question in KCET. This kind of questions are very common. Now next question. For a diatomic gas, change in internal energy for unit change in temperature for constant pressure and constant volume is U1 and U2 respectively. What is the ratio of U1 and U2? So diatomic gas change in internal energy for unit change in temperature. Change in internal energy to unit change in temperature. Okay, for constant pressure and constant volume. Now internal energy change, what is the internal energy change? Internal energy change is basically given by CV dt. Okay, internal energy change is given by CV dt. Okay, so it does not matter the process is constant pressure or constant volume, change in internal energy is constant. Okay, it only depends on this factor CV dt. It does not depend on dp. So if you are doing it at constant pressure, what happens is that it will remain CVDT, extra energy will be converted into work. If you are doing it at constant volume, whatever energy you are giving, that energy is converted into internal energy, no work is done. If you are doing it at constant pressure, extra energy that you supply gets converted into work. So it does not matter, it does not change with constant pressure or constant volume. In change in internal energy will be same, be it constant volume, be it constant pressure. Change in internal energy is always same. It only depends on change in temperature and specific heat of constant volume. So ratio will be obviously delta U volume is to delta U pressure will be 1:1. It will not change on constant volume or constant pressure. Very important concept to remember, that internal energy depends only on change in temperature and specific heat at constant volume. Okay, next question. The radius of gyration of uniform rod of length about an axis passing through its center of mass is. Okay, the radius of gyration of uniform rod. So here we have a uniform rod. Okay, passing through its center of mass. So about an axis passing through its center of mass. So what is the moment of inertia? First of all, we have to find the moment of inertia for a rod, a uniform rod about an axis passing through its center of mass. The moment of inertia is given by ml square by 12 for a uniform rod. You have to remember these values. Okay, this is from center rotational motion chapter. Okay, so moment of inertia is ml square by 12 for a uniform rod, and that should be equals to mk square, where k is the radius of gyration. So basically what you have to do, you have to cancel the mass, and k will be equals to square root of L square by 12, which is L by root 12. Okay, so this is the correct answer, option A. Okay. You guys fight on who will win, but eventually after 11 days you all have to win. Your exams are here, right? You should not focus on the match right now. At least for next 11 days you will get plenty of time to watch the match after your KCET exams are over. Okay, so till then please focus. Okay, you can watch at the end, final result, during the result, last 1 hour. Okay, you can watch, but not during the entire thing, even if Kohli is batting. A cyclist bends while taking a turn. Cyclists bend while taking a turn to reduce friction, generate required centripetal force, reduce apparent weight, reduce speed. So when you are cycling or you are biking, those who have you are used to watch cricket matches. I don't know how many of you have seen MotoGP. MotoGP used to be very famous when I was a kid. Okay, the high speed bike racing where they are driving the bikes, and at the corners, at the bends, okay, they completely bend their bodies. Okay, they even touch their knees into the ground for support, and then they take the turn. Why that happens? Okay, even if you are cycling, okay, if you are cycling at a high speed, you have to bend your body towards the side you are taking a turn. Why that happens? Because a component of your weight actually provides the required centripetal force so that you can take that you can turn at a high speed. Okay, otherwise what will happen, you will slowly skid away from the center and you have to take the turn from a longer side, which is not expected, because closer the side. So if you are taking a turn, suppose this is the road, okay, if you are taking a turn from here, okay, at high speed, okay, you need to bend such a way that a component of your weight points in this direction so that the required centripetal force is there. Okay, friction will provide a part of the centripetal force. Remaining centripetal force has to be provided by the weight of your body, and that is the reason that we bend our bodies while taking a turn. Okay, the racers, they have to take the turn near end, because if they go by this side, okay, they can take the turn at high speed, but still it is a farther road. This is a more longer road than this one. This one is the closest road, so they can make a lot of ground. They can cover a lot of ground if they take the turn near the end. Okay. So option B is the correct answer. Yes, those are childish games when I was a child. Okay, those are very famous. Now if you see that many people watch WWE, the wrestling games, which are already fixed, and they are actually for entertainment. But students, some people like it, maybe you like it. Okay, you play Free Fire, which is again a childish game, but still you likes it. Okay, so it depends from people to people who likes it. Nowadays I know the popularity of MotoGP, Formula 1, they are reduced. Okay, you are more inclined for RCB versus CSK match rather than watching a Formula 1 game, right? So that changes, the generation changes, the likes of people also changes. A 1 kg particle strikes a wall with a velocity 1 meter per second. Okay, 1 kg particle strikes a wall with 1 meter per second at an angle of 60 degrees with the wall and reflects the same angle. if it remains contact with the wall for 0.1 second, then the force is, okay, you have to calculate the force, impulsive force, okay. So mass of the particle is 1 kg and its velocity is 1 meter per second. Okay, it hits the wall at an angle of 60 degrees. Okay, so this is the angle. And it reflects back, okay. Same angle. So this angle is 60 degrees. Now this angle I don't think is 60, sorry. I think with the wall they said no, so this angle must be 60. Okay, this angle must be 60. Now if they say normal to the wall, then it could have been the angle, but anyway, let's see which one is correct. So when it is okay, I think not this angle, sorry, this angle is 60, because with the wall means wall is a flat surface, so that means this is the perpendicular to the wall, so this is the area vector. So whenever it says that angle made by the wall, so this must be the angle. Okay, so what is the change in its momentum? Initially, what is the momentum? So when the particle is coming, its momentum is m into v, that is 1 kg and 1 meter per second, so that is 1 kg meter per second or 1 SI unit. So initial momentum is 1 SI unit and it is an angle 60 degrees. So what is the component of this along the perpendicular along the area vector? So that will be mv cos theta, right? This is the adjacent angle, so this will be mv cos theta, and once it is reflected back, what is the change in its momentum again in this direction? That will be mv cos theta. Okay, because it's reflecting at the same angle, everything will remain same, only thing that will change is the direction of the momentum. Now momentum will have one component in this direction, one component in this direction, same here as well. So one component in this direction, one component in this direction, so this component will be same. Okay, this component will be same, only component that will change is this one. So total momentum, so it will actually change from this side to this side. Okay, so momentum will change, otherwise this along the x-axis component will remain same, along the y-axis only the momentum changes. Okay, so mv cos theta initially was plus, next it was minus, so if you subtract them, that is minus minus will be plus, so you get 2 mv cos theta. Basically this is the change in momentum. Change in momentum we calculated. Now we have to calculate the force. What is force? Force is very simple, change in momentum divided by the time, right? That is the definition of force. So change in momentum is 2 mv cos theta and time is 0.1. So now let's see, 2 into 1 into cos 60. Cos 60 means half divided by 0.1. So it will be 2 cancels, 10. Okay, 10 Newton. The force acting on this is 10 Newton. Have I made a mistake? Okay, I guess they have taken this angle as 60, not this angle. I think they have taken this angle as 60, so they have taken this as 30. Anyway, this question is slightly confusing because it should have been clearly mentioned which angle is 60. Okay, they are saying that angle with wall, generally angle with wall means the angle with the normal. Okay, so if it is not mentioned, anyway, don't worry, if this question comes in KCET, they will clearly mention which angle they are considering. So this will be root 3. So the correct answer will be 10 root 3. Okay, so correct answer will be 10 root 3. Option B should be the correct answer. Okay. When is chemistry class? Chemistry class, I think tomorrow will be chemistry class. Okay, so you are super strong in physics, then answer this question. If you are thinking that only you need help with chemistry, then answer this question. A jet engine works on the principle of conservation of linear momentum, conservation of mass, conservation of energy, conservation of angular momentum. I think there should be one option where it had been mentioned all of the above. So let's see who can answer this. Fozia is saying option B. Option B, conservation of mass. Jet engine is the engine which moves up by emitting some gases. Okay, so what is the basic thing? Conservation of mass, conservation of energy, conservation of angular momentum, conservation of linear momentum. Mass of the fuel is converted into energy. No, the basic principle is conservation of linear momentum. Okay, so whatever else involved is in the process. Okay, linear momentum has to be conserved. For linear motion, you have to understand that for linear motion, the linear momentum has to be always conserved. Okay, does not matter if the mass is reducing, the velocity has to increase to compensate that reduction in mass. Okay, the whatever energy it is being produced, that energy will be converted into the velocity of the jet engine so that it gets the required energy. Okay, so it is everything is involved, but the basic is linear momentum. Conservation of mass, conservation of energy, they are all secondary. Primary is linear momentum. To keep linear momentum conserved, okay, everything else has to work in the principle, whether the gas, whatever the gas is being burned, okay, that is coming out, so there is a rate of change of mass. Force you can calculate based on change in mass, but conservation of energy will also be there, but conservation of mass and energy will also be there, but they will work together to conserve linear momentum. Okay, individually they will not be conserved. Only thing that will be conserved is linear momentum. Understand that. Okay, linear momentum will always be conserved. Okay, when there is no external force acting on a system, the linear momentum has to be conserved. And because jet engine works, it burns the fuel itself, it emits the fuel itself, so no external force acts on this. That means the linear momentum has to be conserved. When an engine approaches the hill at a constant speed, when it has a distance of I think okay, this question is out of syllabus. This is based on the principle of Doppler effect, which is not in the syllabus, so I will not solve it. Next question. An artificial satellite moving in a circular orbit around the Earth has a total kinetic plus potential energy E naught. Its potential energy is. So artificial satellite, this is our Earth, this is the satellite which is orbiting. Okay, it is orbiting the Earth. So its total energy is E naught. E naught is its kinetic energy plus potential energy. Okay, now it says that its potential energy is. What is the potential energy? Who can answer? Kanayal is saying option C. Okay, remember this very simple thing that kinetic energy is equals to total energy's modulus. Total energy is generally negative. That's why it is bound to Earth. That's why it is orbiting around the Earth. So total energy is negative. So kinetic energy is modulus of E naught, or sometimes can be written as minus E naught. Potential energy is twice of that, not negative. okay, not negative but simply E naught, because E naught itself is negative. E naught itself is negative, okay, E naught itself is negative. So potential energy is 2 E naught, kinetic energy is modulus of E naught. Okay, so this is very simple point to remember, and the same principle goes for electron orbiting around a nucleus. The same principle goes for electron orbiting a nucleus. Okay, the kinetic energy is modulus of total energy. The potential energy is twice of the total energy as well. Same formula. Okay, now next. At what height h above the Earth's surface the value of g becomes g by 2? So we know that gravitational acceleration at a height is given by gravitational acceleration on the surface divided by 1 plus h by r whole square. Okay, 1 plus h by r whole square. This is the general formula. In case of the height is small, you can take an approximate value, but that we are not going to use here, because obviously g by 2 is not a small number, so you cannot take the approximation, you have to take the actual value. Okay, so now let's simplify. G cancels, we get 1. Do the cross multiplication, we get 2 equals to 1 plus h by r whole square. So take the square root, root 2 1 plus h by r, okay, or h by r equals to root 2 minus 1. So height will be root 2 minus 1 into r. Okay, root 2 minus 1 into r. So option A is correct answer. Do not take approximation in this particular case. Okay, approximation method will not work if you don't solve it like this. Okay, now next, the length of a wire is L1 when the tension in the wire it is T1, and L2 when the tension is T2. The original length of the wire is, so length of, this is based on Young's modulus. So length of the wire is L1 when tension is T1. So we have a wire, you are applying some tension and the length is L1. Now you apply another tension, say more than L2, so length is T2. What is the original length of the wire? So original length say L. Original length say L. Okay, now you have to calculate the original length. Now what is constant over here? Young's modulus is constant. So we can say that tension divided by area equals to change in length divided by original length. This thing will remain constant for both cases. Okay, so T1 by A, so delta L1, so this is delta L1, and that will be equals to T2 by A. Area we are assuming is almost constant, so delta L2 by L. Okay, now from here A will cancel, L will cancel, and you get T1 by delta L1 equals to T2 by delta L2. Okay, now what is delta L1? Delta L1 is length minus original length. Delta L2 is the increased length minus original length, right? So you have to use this over here. So T1 by L1 minus L equals to T2 by L2 minus L. Now you have to cross multiply and you will get T1 L2 minus T1 L equals to T2 L1 minus T2 L. Okay, now all the L terms will come on this side. So T2 L minus T1 L equals to T2 L1 minus T1 L2. Okay, or L gets common, T2 minus T1. So T2 L1 minus T1 L2, or L equals to T2 L1 minus T1 L2 divided by T2 minus T1. So again this derivation or this small derivation is actually based on the concept that Young's modulus for a given material is constant. Okay, so we get the answer here as this one. Also we assumed while solving T2 is greater than T1. In case it opposite, you have to multiply minus on both sides and it will be the opposite answer. Okay, so we assume that T2 is greater than T1, that's why we get this answer. Okay, or you can remember this as a shortcut formula. You can start it from here and you will get the answer. Now next, surface tension of water is 0.72 Newton per meter. Excess pressure inside a water drop of diameter 0.12 millimeter is. So you have to calculate the excess pressure for diameter is given, water drop diameter is given 1.2 millimeter. Okay, and surface tension of water is given 0.072 N per meter. Okay, how to calculate the excess pressure? Kanaya, I think you have seen the answer, that's why you are answering so fast, because you need to calculate it. Okay, tell me what is the formula? Tell me the formula for excess pressure. Who can answer that? Total questions, sir, we are going to solve 60 questions. Okay, so this is going to be a little longer. I will give you a break at 2 p.m. for a lunch break. Don't worry, I will give you a good 20 minutes break and then we can come back. Okay, but we will try to solve as many questions possible before that. So I was trying to give you the break at 30th question. Let's see. So what is the formula for excess pressure? Who can answer? So excess pressure inside a liquid drop is given by the surface tension divided by the radius. Surface tension divided by the radius. What is the radius here? 1.2 millimeter. Diameter is given 1.2 millimeter. That means radius is 0.6 millimeter. That is 0.6 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meter, or 6 into 10 to the power of minus 4 meter. Now, how to remember that? If you see the answer here, in the option it is per meter, and in the answer it is per meter square. So basically you have to divide this surface tension by one extra distance. Okay, so basically it is 0.072 divided by 6 into 10 to the power of minus 4, or let's not write it 72 into 10 to the power of minus 3. Okay, 1 2 3. So 10 to the power of minus 3, 6 into 10 to the power of minus 4. 6 ones are 6, and sorry, there will be 2t. It will be 2t. It will be 2t. Okay, because it's a complete water bubble, so it will be 2t. If it is a hollow from inside, then it will be t. Okay, if it is a soap bubble, it will be t. If it is water bubble, it will be 2t. Okay. So that is one difference that you have to remember. Okay, into 2. So it will be 12 2s are 24 into 10 to the power of plus 1. Minus 4, minus 3, so division, so it becomes plus. So 240 Newton per meter square is the answer. 240 Newton per meter square is the answer. So this is the correct answer for this question. Okay. Now next question. If potential function in an electric field is given by, need to do it faster. If the potential function in an electric field is given by V is equal to minus 4x square plus 3y square plus 2z, the electric field at a point 1, 0, 2 is. So how to calculate this one? Yes, Vampy, that is a good strategy as long as you understand that this could be the possible formula. Okay, there are some cases where, for example, 2t you will not be able to guess. If it is a soap bubble, same question asks soap bubble, you guessed based on dimensions, you can guess the correct answer. But if the same question is asked water bubble, okay, then in that case that will be little tricky. Okay, if a potential function in an electric field is given by V is equal to minus 4x square plus 3y square plus 2z. So this is very unique question. You have to calculate individually the components of x, of y and of z. So remember that when we write the electric field equation, we always write it is minus dV by dx. Okay, we do not say anything about y or z component. Actually it is, we actually write this as, those who are studying a little bit advanced maybe understand this. This is called partial derivative. Partial derivative is nothing when you are differentiating a quantity with respect to one quantity and remaining y and z are constant. This is called partial derivative. This is nothing but you are differentiating this quantity, but y and z are constant when you are differentiating with respect to x. Okay, so you will not get dy dx and dz dx as a term. Okay, so this is very easy kind of derivation. Okay, once you learn partial derivative in higher classes, you will see that okay, this is a very easy kind of derivative. So here what we will be doing, we will differentiate only the x quantity to calculate ex. Y and z will remain constant. So minus of d dx of minus 4x square. Okay, that is minus plus 4 into 2x, that is 8x. So this is ex. Okay, what about ey? Ey will be in the same way, will be 6y minus, and ez will be minus 2. Okay, so we have calculated the x, y and z components. Now we have to put this point. So ex at x equals to 1 will be 8, ey at y equals to 0 will be 0, and ez does not matter, it's constant, it will be always minus 2. Okay, so the electric field vector is given by 8 I cap, j cap is not there, j cap is 0, minus 2 k cap. So correct answer is 8 I cap minus 2 k cap. So option D is correct answer for this question. Okay, yes Vampy, correct. Taking others as constant, we have to differentiate. Okay, so this is actual correct way to write, but because partial derivative is not in your syllabus, we have to contend with this anyway. Now next question. If potential difference of a capacitor is 6 microfarad is changed from 10 volt to 20 volt, then increase in its energy is, you have to calculate the increase in energy. We know that energy is given by half CV square, very simple. So initially the energy is half CV1 square, final energy is half C V2 square. So change in potential energy is half C common V2 square minus V1 square. Okay, so if you do this background instead of calculating each step, that can save you some time. So half into 6 microfarad. Okay, microfarad means 10 to the power of minus 6, and V2 square is 20 square, that is 400, and V1 square is 10 square, that is 100. Okay, so you can write 3 cancels, so you get 3 into 10 to the power of minus 6 into 300. Okay, that is 9 into 10 to the power of minus 4. So 9 into 10 to the power of minus 4, option D is correct. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. A network of 6 identical capacitors, each of value C, is made as shown in the figure. Okay, equivalent capacitance between point A and point B is. So if you see this diagram, you can draw the equivalent diagram. Now if you see that here, this point and this point are actually simply connected. That means what we can say, this capacitor and this capacitor are connected in parallel. Similarly, if you see this point and this point, they are connected, so these two capacitors are also connected in parallel. These two we will figure out later. So first is this circuit can be drawn as one capacitor like this, then we have this capacitor in parallel, there is one capacitor here, okay, and we also have one capacitor starting from this one, and that goes just a second. This is parallel, this is parallel. And then they are again connected in parallel. So this is the combination. So this capacitor is connected in parallel. So if you figure out the diagram, it will actually be very simple to solve it. So these capacitors are connected in parallel means C, C, okay, and this is also connected in parallel, C, C, so C by 2. So when two equal capacitors are connected in parallel, their equivalent capacitance is 2C, sorry, not C by 2, 2C. So this can be written as 2C, then 1C is in series, and in the bottom portion also you have C and 2C in series, so C and 2C. Now when two capacitors are connected in series, the equivalent capacitance will be calculated using 2C into C divided by 2C plus C. So that is 2C square by 3C, that is 2/3 C. So 2/3 C and 2/3 C are now in parallel. 2/3 C and 2/3 C. So the total capacitance will be 2/3 plus 2/3 C, that is 4 by 3 C. So correct answer here is option C. Okay, correct answer is option C. So basically it's a simplification diagram. Okay, you realize these two are in parallel, these two are in parallel. Now this combination is series with this one, and this combination is in series with this one. Now the entire combination is parallel to each other, so that's how you should solve it. Okay, now next question. An electric charge 10 to the power of minus 3 microcoulomb is placed at the origin 0, 0 of x and y coordinate system. 2 points A and B are situated at root 2 and 2, 0 respectively. The potential difference between point A and B is. So we have charge Q placed at the origin. okay, and we have one point here and one point somewhere here. So this is point A and this is point B. Point A is root 2 comma root 2 and point B is 2 comma 0. Now you have to find the potential difference between the points. So first let us find this distance and this distance. So this is RA, this is RB. What is RB? RB is very simple, 2 minus 0 whole square root. Okay, plus 0 minus 0 does not matter. Okay, the coordinate is known, so you can find the distance between 2 points. So it's a geometry problem. So RB will be 2. What is RA? RA is root 2 minus 0 whole square plus root 2 minus 0 whole square. That is 2 plus 2, that is again 2. So RA and RB both are at equal distance. That means that both will have same potential. So potential difference will be 0. So basically if 2 points are at same distance from the charges, does not matter where it located, potential difference will be 0 because the distances are same. Okay, Kanaya, don't Kanayal, please don't spam. If you answer once also, I will read and I will say that well done. Okay, and unless you are reading from the bottom of the answer. Okay, now next, force between two identical charges placed at a distance small r in vacuum is F. Now a slab of dielectric constant K equals to 4 inserted between these two charges. The thickness of the slab is r by 2. The force between the charge will now become. So we have two charges. Okay, say Q1, Q2. Distance is r. The force given here is F. Now you have inserted a slab of dielectric constant K. Thickness is r by 2. What is the force between these two charges? That's what you have to calculate. Okay, remember force always reduces. Now how to calculate this directly? There is a formula, that is force is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by r square is normally the force, and if you add a dielectric medium of full length, then it becomes root K into r whole square. Okay, generally this is the formula when you insert a full dielectric medium, but here you have not inserted a full dielectric medium, you have inserted partly dielectric medium, and remaining r by 2 is still vacant. Remaining r by 2 is still vacant. So what is the equivalent length for this? Equivalent length for this is K into r by 2. And what is the part which is still in vacuum? That is r by 2. R by 2. So total distance now will be this value. Okay. Here K value is given as r 4. So root 4 into r by 2 plus r by 2. So that will be 2r by 2 plus r by 2, which is 3r by 2. So 3r by 2 is the new distance when you inserted a dielectric slab. Okay, so the formula here is Q1 Q2 root K x. Okay, Kx is outside plus r minus x whole square. Okay, this is the shortcut formula if you want to remember. If you want to remember like this also, fine. Okay, so let's see, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by 3r by 2 whole square. If you simplify this, you will get 3r by 2. X here x equals to r by 2. Okay, that is 4 by 9 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by r square. Now this is the original force, so it will be 4 by 9 F. So 4 by 9 F is the correct answer. Option D is correct answer. Yes, D for Didi. D for diamond as well. You should think higher, okay? You should not think lower. There is a uniform electric field of strength 10 to the power of 3 volt per meter along the line y-axis. A body of mass 1 gram and charge 10 to the power of -6 is projected into the field from the origin along the positive x-axis with a velocity of 10 meter per second. Its speed in meter per second after 10 seconds will be. Neglect gravitation. So here we have, this is x, this is y. Electric field of strength 10 to the power of 3 volt per meter along y-axis. Okay, now it is projected into the field from the origin along positive x-axis. Now you have projected this in this direction, okay, with the velocity of 10 meter per second. Okay, now it says that its speed after 10 seconds. Now here, so this speed along the x-axis, there is no force acting on this in this direction. So this component of speed will remain same. This is a slightly mixture of projectile motion, but not exactly. So this component is horizontal motion, so this component will remain unchanged, but there is a force acting on this in this direction because this is a charged particle. So charged particle will experience as a force in the direction of the electric field. Now I think that one important thing is that charge is positive charge. Positive charge will experience a force in the same direction of electric field. So there will be a force acting on this direction. What is that force? That force is Q into E. Q is 10 to the power of -6 and electric field strength is 10 to the power of 3. Now volt per meter and Newton per coulomb are same unit, so no need to worry about it. So it will be 10 to the power of -3 Newton. So this much force will act on this system, but that will be along the y direction. Okay. So this is the force that is acting in the y direction. Now what is the acceleration? M equals to A, ma father equals to ma. So acceleration in the y direction is given by 10 to the power of -3 Newton, or 1 grams equals to 10 to the power of -3 kilograms. Right, so mass we will put 10 to the power of -3, Ay equals to 10 to the power of -3. So that means Ay equals to 1 meter per second square. So there is an acceleration in the y direction that is given by 1 meter per second square. Now what is the velocity along the y direction after 10 seconds? So velocity along y direction after 10 seconds will be acceleration into time. That is 1 into 10, that is 10 meter per second. So acceleration velocity along y direction is 10 meter per second. Velocity along x direction initially 10 meter per second. This is constant. It will not change. So what is the net velocity? Net velocity is basically square root of vx square plus vy square. Okay. So that will be 10 root 2. So 10 square plus 10 square, that is 10 root 2 meter per second. So correct answer is option C. Okay, not D. Sahil Shubhay distortion answered correctly. Hariom, there is a issue with our poll. There was one person, I obviously cannot take the polls on my own. I am teaching in the class, so we had a person who was doing the polls, but there was an issue happened, so we are not able to take the polls, but we will try to bring the polls back soon again, but that will take some time. Okay, right now the pole facility is not there. Okay, we are trying to get a person who will be taking care of the poles from backend, but that is not yet possible right now, but we will try to bring the poles back again. Okay, we did the pole in the past, we will be doing the pole back again, but let's solve this question. Figure shows current in a part of an electric circuit, then the current I is. So what is the current I? You have to find this current I. How to solve it? So we basically, it's a Kirchhoff's current law based problem. 2 ampere coming here, 2 ampere coming here, so total current here is 4 ampere, right? Now once 4 ampere comes over here, it goes away 1 ampere, so remaining 3 ampere comes over here. Now again 1.3 ampere current goes this side, that means remaining 3 minus 1.3, that is 1.7 ampere current comes this side. Okay, so correct answer is 1.7 ampere. Option A is correct answer. Okay, so option A is correct answer. Yes, so most of you have answered correctly. Distortion, Shubhay, Vijay. So, distortion, you did not tell me how much you scored in the board exam. You were missing for some times now. We did not see you for at least few days. A strip of copper and another germanium are cooled from room temperature to 80 K. The resistance of a strip of copper and another of germanium are cooled from room temperature to 80 K. Room temperature is generally 273 K. Room temperature, if you take 27 degrees approximately, it will be 300 K. Okay, room temperature is approximately 300 K and you cooled it to 80 K. Okay, that is in negative. 80 K means in negative Celsius. Okay, so room temperature to 80 K, what will happen? Obviously, the resistance of copper will decrease and germanium will increase. If you talk about conductivity, conductivity of copper will increase, conductivity of germanium will decrease. Okay, so here basically they are talking about resistance. That means resistance of copper will decrease, germanium will increase. Okay, copper strip decreases and that of germanium increases. Okay, semiconductor, for semiconductor the resistance, resistivity etc. increases with decrease in temperature, and for conductors resistance, resistivity etc. Decreases with decrease in temperature. Exactly opposite. Okay, so copper strip decreases, germanium increases. Germanium becomes a good conductor at higher temperature. At lower temperature, it becomes a bad conductor. Two bulbs, 500 watt and 300 watt, are manufactured to operate 220 volt line. If their resistances are R1 and R2 respectively, then the value of R1 and R2. Okay, so we know that what is power? Power is equals to Vodafone Idea. Remember this, power is VI. Okay, Vodafone Idea. So power equals to V into I. Now power rating of both the bulbs are different. Okay, voltage is same, current is different. Now we can also write this as V square by R. Okay, in terms of resistance, because the resistance, we need to calculate the resistance, we will write it in terms of resistance. Okay, voltage is constant, so constant value divided by resistance. Power P1, power P2 is again same thing, V square by R2. That means P1 by P2 equals to R2 by R1. Okay, power is inversely proportional to resistance. Okay, so power P1 is 500, P2 is 300, so R2 by R1 is 5 by 3, that means R1 by R2 is 3 by 5. It is 3 by 5. So option B is correct. Okay, make sure whenever you are answering a ratio based question, you make sure that the order is correct. That I always tell you and I will tell you again and again. Okay, Hariom, that is not possible in our okay, good, not bad. So we cannot teach in English or Kanglish, we will only teach in English. Okay. That's how our channel is. We are doing it for more than almost 3 years now. We are teaching in English only because many students do not understand Kannada, some students do not understand Hindi, but everyone understands English. And just remember that once you move from here onwards, all the lectures, all the classes will be taken in English only. Okay, be it you are joining in Karnataka, be you are going outside for NITs and IITs, everywhere, don't think that they will teach you in your vernacular language. They will teach you only in English. Yes, for example, if you are studying in Karnataka, okay, some of the lecturers may interact with you in the local Kannada language, but otherwise during the lecture, during the class, they will teach you in English only. Remember that. This is a very important point. And if you are going for NEET and all the lecturers will be interacting with you in English only. Outside the class, they might interact with local languages. Otherwise, during the class, they will interact with you in English only. If negligible small current is passed through a wire of length 15 meter and resistance of 5 ohm, having uniform cross section of 6 into 10 to the power of minus 7 meter square, then the coefficient of resistivity of material is so length is given 15 meter, area of cross section is given, resistance is given. So R equals to rho L by A. Okay, area itself is given, so no need to worry too much. Resistance is 5, rho we are trying to calculate, length is 15 and area is 6 into 10 to the power of minus 7. Okay, so rho will be equals to 5 into 6 into 10 to the power of minus 7 divided by 15. So it will be 3, 2, so 2 into 10 to the power of minus 7. So the resistivity is 2 into 10 to the power of minus 7. So this is the correct answer. Next question. In identical cells, each of EMF epsilon and internal resistance R are joined to form a closed circuit. One cell A is joined with reverse polarity. The potential difference across each cell except A is. So here we have n number of cells are connected like this. But out of them, one is connected in the reverse polarity. Reverse polarity means everyone else is connected positive, negative, but one is connected in the opposite order. Remaining all of them are connected in properly, and they are all connected in a closed loop. Closed loop means circuit is closed. Okay, suppose everything is E, but this one is actually negative E. Everything is getting added, this one has to be subtracted. So how many cells are there? Total number of cells? N. How many of them are properly connected? N minus 1 are properly connected. So this is the total EMF of all the cells which are connected properly. But one of the cell is improperly connected. One of the cell is improperly connected. That means the equivalent EMF will be N minus 2 into E. This is very, very important to understand. So this is the equivalent EMF of this combination. In terms of equivalent resistance all are added. Resistance does not have any polarity, so the total equivalent resistance will be N into R. R plus R plus R plus R, so it will be NR, right? So what is the current in the circuit? Current in the circuit is equivalent EMF divided by equivalent resistance. No external resistance is connected, so the current will be N minus 2 E by N into R. Okay, so this is the current. Now what is the voltage drop? They ask you potential difference across each. So potential difference across each is nothing but I into R. Potential difference across each is I into R. So N minus 2 into epsilon divided by NR into R. Okay, that is N minus 2 into E by N. Okay, N minus 2 into E by N. So correct answer is option B. Okay, correct answer is option B, not C. Fozia, Sultana. Yes, distortion is correct. Option B is correct. Remember that here N minus 1 are properly connected and then one of them is improperly connected, that you have to subtract. If you figure that out, okay, then you don't need to actually calculate. If you figure that, okay, it will be N minus 2, then you can simply write the correct answer N minus 2. Only one quantity have N minus 2, so that has to be the correct answer. You can solve the entire problem for your own satisfaction. Otherwise, as soon as you figure out this is N minus 2, you can directly write the answer. You don't need to solve the answer completely. Okay, the internal resistance of a 2.1 volt cell which gives a current of 0.2 ampere through a resistance of 10 ohm is. So internal resistance of a 2.1 volt cell, so we have to calculate. Okay, just a second. So we can say that the EMF equals to internal resistance plus external resistance into the current. Okay, so this is the EMF. EMF is given 2.1, internal resistance is not given, external resistance is given 10 ohm, and current is given 0.2. So R plus 10 equals to 2.1 divided by 0.2, which will be 21 by 2, that is 10.5. So R equals to 10.5 minus 10, that is 0.5. So internal resistance is 0.5 ohm. Internal resistance is 0.5 ohm. Okay, after this question, after 30th question, I will give you a break. What is the de Broglie wavelength associated with an electron accelerated through a potential difference of 100 volts? What is the de Broglie wavelength associated with an electron accelerated through a potential difference of 100 volt? So de Broglie wavelength is H by P. De Broglie wavelength is H by P. So here what is the energy of the, what is the kinetic energy of the electron? Electron is accelerated through 100 volt potential difference, means its kinetic energy will be given by E into V, simply E into V. Okay, and E is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19, and potential is 100. So it will be 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus I think there is a shortcut way. Let me see. E will be equals to H nu. Okay, or I'm not sure if this method will work or not. Let me check once. If it is works, then it will be very, very simple. So that will be 100 EV equals to h into c by lambda. So lambda equals to hc by 100 and 1240 by 100, that is 1.24 nanometer. Just a second. Let me check once. Okay, maybe this method may not work. If this method does not work, then we have to solve it in a longer way, which might take a little bit more. Let's see. So this is the kinetic energy. Now potential energy will be square root of 2m ek, which is 2 into 9.1 into 10 to the power of minus 31 into 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 17. Okay, this will be very long method, but because that method did not work, we have to use let's see. So assuming this is approximately 9 and this is approximately 1.6, we can say that it will be 10 to the power of minus 48. Okay, 10 to the power of minus 48 means 10 to, so this will be 3 into 4 into 10 to the power of minus 24 square root of 0.2. Okay, this method is obviously longer method, but we cannot help it. 6.6 into 10 to the power of minus 34 divided by, at least find the closest answer, 12 into 10 to the power of minus 24 into 0.2 square root. Okay, 0.2 square root, let's leave it like this. Okay, so it will be 1.6 by 0.2 square root into 10 to the power of minus 10. Okay, so this is the value, 1.6 into 10 to the divided by 0.2. Now 0.2 is something slightly difficult to calculate. Let's see. This method is also not giving exact answer because I am not getting the correct answer. Let's check, because The values are not super great here. Okay, according to the solution for this question, there is a shortcut. They are saying there is a shortcut method which says that you can simplify this by using a value lambda equals to 1.228 divided by square root of V. Okay, now how they achieve this, that I have to check. So this is a shortcut method, that if the voltage difference is given, electron is accelerated through a potential difference, then all the constant values can be simplified to be 0.1228 divided by square root of voltage, that is 1.228 divided by 100, that will give you 0.1228, that is 0.123. So correct answer will be this one. Now this formula I need to check how they came up with. Maybe in the next class I will check this. Okay, this is the solution given in the solution of this question. Okay, let's see. When the radiation of the wavelength lambda is incident on a metallic surface, when the radiation of wavelength lambda is incident on a metallic surface, the stopping potential is 0.48 volt. If the same surface is illuminated with the radiation of double the wavelength, then the stopping potential becomes 1.6 volt. The threshold wavelength of the surface is so we know that stopping potential EV naught is given by the energy of the incident photon minus the threshold work function. Okay, now from here, but the problem is not asking you about the threshold work function of the material, but we can calculate that work function is given by hc by lambda naught. This is the threshold wavelength. This is called threshold wavelength. This is not about threshold frequency, this is about threshold wavelength. So hc by lambda minus hc by lambda naught. Okay, so EV naught is the first case where it is given as stopping potential is 4.8 volts. So E into 4.8 equals to hc by lambda minus hc by lambda naught. In the second case, same problem, but they said that the stopping potential is 1.6 volt when you have doubled the wavelength. Okay, obviously we are not doing any solution over here. We will simply divide them. We will simply divide them and we will cancel EE, HC, HC, everything will be cancelled. So 4.8 divided by 1.6, EE cancelled, equals to 1 by lambda minus 1 by lambda naught divided by 1 by 2 lambda minus 1 by lambda naught. HC again cancels. We do not need to put the value of HC over here. So you cancel it, you get 3. Now do the cross multiplication. 3 by 2 lambda minus lambda 3 by lambda naught, 3 by 2 lambda minus 3 by lambda naught equals to 1 by lambda minus 1 by lambda naught. Now take this on this side, you get 1 by lambda naught minus 3 by lambda naught equals to 1 by lambda minus 3 by 2 lambda. Okay, now continue with the calculation. We get minus 2 by lambda naught equals to, so after this let's move here, 2 by lambda naught equals to 2 lambda 2 minus 3 lambda, sorry, not lambda, 2 minus 3. So we get minus 2 by lambda naught equals to minus 1 by 2 lambda. Okay, so minus minus cancels, so lambda naught by 2 equals to 2 lambda, or lambda naught equals to 4 lambda. So lambda naught equals to 4 lambda. So option B is correct. Option B is correct. Now I will give you a break, so you can go and have some okay. "20 minutes break, go have some lunch, okay, then we will join again, okay." Yes, 30 answer is B. Hello. Yes, I am back. Timer is over and I am back. Okay. So no worries. So now let's move on with our discussion of question number 31. The rest mass of a photon is. What is the rest mass of a photon? So what is the calculate the rest mass of photon? First of all, you have to understand that what is a photon. Photon is basically energy, and the energy of a photon is given by h nu. Okay, and what is the momentum of a photon? Momentum of a photon is p c. Okay, momentum of a photon is given by just a second. So they are talking about rest mass. Rest mass of a photon is rest mass. We do not need to go into that detail. So if you are listening, you are still live, I am back. Answer this question. Yes. So what is the meaning of rest mass? Rest mass is basically when you stop a photon and try to calculate its mass. The rest mass of photon is actually 0. If the photon is moving, it may have a moving mass, the relativistic mass, but obviously that you may not need to know here, but you need to understand that rest mass of the photon is 0. Rest mass of the photon is 0. A paramagnetic liquid is taken. A paramagnetic liquid is taken in a U-tube and arranged so that one of its limb is kept between pole pieces of the magnet. The liquid level in the limb. So paramagnet, not diamagnet, not ferromagnet. We have a paramagnet. So this is the U-tube. You have taken it. So initially the both sides of the U-tube will be of the same level. Now you have kept a magnet, U-shaped magnet like this, say on this side. So this is north, this is south. What will happen to this this end of the paramagnetic liquid? So this end of the paramagnetic liquid, suppose this was at this end, what will happen? It will go up or go down. So that is the question. So because it's a paramagnet, it will be slightly attracted by the magnetic field, so it will slowly go up. So rises up is the correct answer. Rises up is the correct answer. It will rise up, but by a very small amount. If it is a ferromagnetic liquid, it will rise up substantially, but if it is a paramagnetic liquid, it will go up by a small amount. If it is a diamagnetic material, then it will go down by a small distance. Okay, so understand this. For paramagnet and ferromagnet, it will rise up. For diamagnet, it will go down. Okay, now next question. A diamagnetic material in a magnetic field moves perpendicular to the field from stronger to weaker part of the field, from weaker to strongest part of the field. None of these. Easy. Another easy question. Yes, correct. Fuzia Sultana answered this question again, correct. It will move from stronger to weaker part of the field. It will move from stronger to weaker part of the field. Okay, so because it's a diamagnetic material, it moves from stronger field to weaker field because it gets repelled slightly. So from stronger to weaker part of the field is the correct answer. To produce a magnetic field of pi Tesla at the center of a circular loop of diameter 1 meter, the current flowing through the loop is. So we have to find the current in a loop to produce a magnetic field at the center of a current carrying a loop. Okay. So what is the expression for diameter is given 1 meter. So radius is 0.5 meter. Remember, diameter is twice the radius, so you have to calculate the radius first. Now we know that the magnetic field is given by mu naught by 2 pi I by r. At the center, mu naught by 2 pi I by r is the formula for magnetic field at the center of a current carrying loop. Okay. So mu naught is 4 pi into 10 to the power of minus 7 divided by 2 pi into I by 0.5. Okay, 2 pi, 4 pi cancels, you get 2 over here. I think 2 pi is correct, or 4 pi. Just let me check once. Ideal, mu naught by 4 pi ideal by sin theta by r. So sin theta, it will be 4 pi. Mu naught by 2 pi is for mu naught by 4 pi I by r at the center of the loop. Now this is given pi Tesla. Mu naught is 4 pi into 10 to the power of minus 7 by 4 pi, and I we are trying to find radius is 0.5. 4 pi cancels, and no, sorry. It will be mu naught by 2 I by r. Okay, mu naught by 2 I by r. So it is 4 pi into 10 to the power of minus 7 by 2. Here we have pi and I by 0.5. So pi cancels, 2 and 2 cancels, and we get I equals to 0.5 divided by 2 into 10 to the power of minus 7. That is 0.25 into 10 to the power of 7. Okay. So if you remove one decimal, you will get 2.5 into 10 to the power of 6. 2.5 into 10 to the power of 6. So option C is correct. I think I have solved it. Yes, correct is option C. Okay, so magnetic field at the center of the loop is given by mu naught by 2 I by r, and at a distance on the axis, at a distance x is given by mu naught by 2 I r square by r square plus x square to the power 3 by 2. So this is the derivation that we have done. Okay, if you put x equals to 0, you get the magnetic field at the center. Okay. Now next question. A galvanometer has 30 divisions. A galvanometer has 30 divisions and sensitivity 16 microampere per division. It can be converted into a voltmeter to read 3 volt by connecting. So 30 divisions, sensitivity 16 microampere per division. So what is the maximum current? Maximum current or galvanometer current that it can allow to pass through it is given by the sensitivity, current sensitivity times the number of division. Okay, you can again use the dimension analysis. 30 divisions, 60 microampere per division. So 16 microampere per division into total number of division. So division cancels, and you get 16 into 30 microampere. Okay, this is the maximum current which is allowed through the galvanometer. Micro means 16 into 30 into 10 to the power of minus 6 ampere. Now we know that if you now it is assuming that this is an ideal galvanometer, its own resistance is 0. So galvanometer you have to connect a high resistance in series so that the voltage drop across this is 3 volt. The voltage drop across this is 3 volt. So current is fixed, that is Ig. So Ig into resistance equals to 3 volt. Ig is 16 into 30 into 10 to the power of minus 6 into R equals to 3, or R equals to 3 by 16 into 30 into 10 to the power of minus 6. Okay, so you get 10. So it will be R equals to 10 to the power of 5 by 16. Okay, 10 to the power of 5 by 16. So now you have to simplify this. So you have to simplify this. How can we simplify? Let's take 100 by 16 into 10 to the power of 3. So it will be 4 4s are 14, 4 25s are 100. So it will be 4 6 are almost 24. So 6 point some value into 10 to the power of 3 ohm, or 6 kilo ohm. So correct answer here is 6 kilo ohm in series. Obviously in series parallel options will be wrong. Okay, now if you want to guess, this answer, how can you guess? There is a way to guess this kind of answer. If you see that two options are given having the same value, 6 kilo ohm, 6 kilo ohm. Okay, 6 kilo ohm, 6 kilo ohm, both are given as options. One is given in series, another one is given in parallel. Okay, so obviously we know that to convert a voltmeter into galvanometer into a voltmeter, we have to add a resistance in series. Now common is, all the option common is 6 kilo ohm. That means this should be the answer, correct answer, and series we know, so that should be the answer as well. Okay, this is a way to guess. If now this method should work for this kind of questions. Now if the options were given, all of them are given randomly, then you cannot guess it, but because the options are given same way, you can guess in this particular question. Now let's move on to the next question, 36. If a charged particle of charge 5 microcoulomb and mass 5 gram is moving with a constant speed 5 meter per second in a uniform magnetic field B on a curve x square plus y square equals to 25, where x and y are in meters, then the value of magnetic field will be. So basically what they are saying that, what is this equation? This is an equation of circle. This is an equation of circle. That means the particle, charged particle, is moving in a circular path. Charged particle is moving in a circular path, and from here we can say that the radius of the circular path is 5, right? What is the equation of a circle? X square plus y square equals to a square, right? A is the radius. A is the radius of the circle. This is the standard equation of a circle. So equation of a circle is given. That means the magnetic field and the velocity are in perpendicular direction. Okay, magnetic field and velocity are in perpendicular direction. So and the magnetic field has to be either into the page or out of the page. So it will has to be either in the positive z-axis or negative z-axis. Okay, so you can again guess the answer without even solving the question. Okay, without even calculating anything, because the magnetic field has to be, because the path of the trajectory of the particle is given in xy plane. Particle is moving in xy plane. Now exact motion of the particle is not given, whether it is moving in the clockwise or anti-clockwise. So it has to be, the magnetic field has to be perpendicular to both x and y. So magnetic field both perpendicular to both x and y means it will be either in the positive z or in the negative z. Okay, based on the clockwise nature, if it is clockwise, okay, then you can find whether what will be the direction of the force. So that depends on whether it is moving in a clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction. It can be both positive and negative. So here if you see, only one option is given with z-axis. So that must be the correct answer. Now how to solve if multiple options are given with z axis? Then you have to use the formula for Lorentz force, that is QVB equals to mv square by r. Okay, this is the formula that you can use to calculate the magnetic field, which is B equals to VV cancels mv by QR. Okay, we know radius is given by mv by QB. You can use this formula to calculate, or you can start from this formula and calculate the magnetic field as well. Okay, very simple formula to calculate the magnitude, but we have solved this question. B is correct option, but if you really want to solve it, the charge is given 5 microcoulomb, mass is 5 grams. 5 grams means 5 into 10 to the power of minus 3. Velocity is 5 meter per second. Charge is 5 into 10 to the power of minus 6, and radius is 5 meters. Okay, because it is given x and y are in meter, so radius will be 5 meter as well. So 5 cancels, this 5 also cancels, we get 10 to the power of 3. 10 to the power of minus 3 divided by 10 to the power of minus 6, so it will be 10 to the power of 3 Tesla, that is 1 kilo Tesla. 1 kilo Tesla. So 1 kilo Tesla along z axis is the correct answer. Okay, again remember that particle is moving in xy plane, so the magnetic field has to be in the z axis. It can be positive, it can be negative. Here only one option is given with z axis, so that should be the answer. Now, next question. A long wire carries a steady current. A long wire carries a steady current. It is bent into a circle of 1 turn, and magnetic field at the center of the coil is B. It is then bent into a circular loop of n turns. The magnetic field at the center of the coil will be. So we have a coil. Initially it has only n equals to 1 number of turn. Okay, the radius say capital R. Okay, now when you take the same wire and make it a smaller wire, so that the number of turns is now is n. Okay, the radius obviously will reduce, but what will remain same? The length, the total length of the wire should remain same. What is the total length of the wire in this particular case? The total length of the wire in this particular case is 2 pi into capital R. What is the total length of the wire in this case? That is 2 pi small r into total number of turns. Here total number of turn was 1, so that simply 2 pi r. Here we have capital N number of turns, so it will be 2 pi r n. Okay, so now compare these two to find the relationship between capital R and small r. So if you compare these two, 2 pi r equals to 2 pi r into n, 2 pi cancel, so capital R equals to r into n. This is the first relation. Secondly, we will use the magnetic field at the center of a coil is given by mu naught by 2, okay, Ni by r. Now for the first case n equals to 1, so we will simply put I by r. Okay, this is for the first case, which is given as B. Now what about the second case? Second case, the magnetic field that we are trying to find, is given by mu naught by 2 Ni. Number of turns will be there. Okay, now number of turns will be there, but we generally consider only one loop. That's why n equals to 1 is being used. But here, because number of turns are there, do not forget this n. Do not forget this n, otherwise your answer will be incorrect. So now put that value over here. You will get mu naught by 2. Okay, Ni by r by n. So you get n square mu naught by 2 I by r. So this is the magnetic field B. So it will be n square B. It will be n square b. This one you can remember as a formula as well. Okay, in the past questions generally came that one wire was 3 turns, then it was made into 9 number of turns, then what is the relation? Remember that ratio of, you take the ratio of the number of turns. Okay, so 9 by 3 and square it, that will be the correct answer always. Which of the following is not an electromagnetic wave? Cosmic ray, gamma ray, beta ray, X-ray. Okay, both A and not electromagnetic. They are saying which of them is not electromagnetic wave? Both A and C, both B and C, only A, only C. Yes, correct, Siddhant. Answer this question, which is correct? Yes, Lakshmi is correct. So remember, cosmic rays are not actually any waves. Cosmic rays are actually fast moving particles which are coming from outer space. Okay, fast moving particles, it can be electrons, it can be protons, but they are basically fast moving particles. They collide with our ionosphere and gives the beautiful aurora. Okay, you may have seen the pictures of aurora. So those are cosmic rays. Okay, gamma ray and X-ray are real electromagnetic waves. Beta rays are electrons which are coming out of nucleus due to nuclear fission. Okay, during nuclear fission, beta decay happens, and beta ray is basically electrons coming out of nucleus. So beta rays are not a real ray. Cosmic ray is also not a electromagnetic ray. Okay, so both A and C are not electromagnetic waves. So correct answer is option A. Oh, I think answer is written over here. Sorry for that. Now next question. The mass number of helium is 4 and for sulfur is 32. The radius of sulfur nuclei is larger than that of helium by. So what is the, by what extent the radius of helium is more than that of sulfur? Answer this. Lakshmi, no, not only A, it was last was A and C. Both were not electromagnetic rays, waves. So we know that radius of nuclei, it is not atomic radius. Okay, it is not atomic radius, it is the radius of the nuclei. Radius of nuclei is a to the power of 1/3, a to the power of 1/3 into a constant. Okay, a to the power of 1/3 to the power constant. Now radius of helium is 4 to the power 1/3 into R0, and radius of sulfur is 32 to the power 1/3. Okay, now by how much? The ratio is RS by RHE, so that is 32 by 4 to the power 1/3. Okay, obviously R0 cancels, so we get 8, so it will be 8 to the power 1/3, that is 2. So correct answer is option C. Okay, don't make things complicated. We know that radius is proportional to a to the power 1/3. So if you take the ratio of their radiuses, it will be simply the ratio of 1/3 of the atomic number or mass number. Not atomic number, mass number. Next question is, in a hydrogen atom, the electron in a given orbit has total energy 1.5 electron volt. The potential energy is. So again, I told you while solving one question in the past, when the satellite is orbiting around Earth, okay, total energy, relationship between total energy, potential energy and kinetic energy. So here total energy is given and they ask you potential energy. So if total energy is given, remember that again I am telling you total energy is sum of kinetic plus potential. Out of that, total energy is negative, potential energy is negative. Kinetic energy can never be negative no matter what, so kinetic energy is always positive. Okay, and the relationship between all of them is kinetic energy is modulus of total energy and potential energy is twice of total energy, okay, including the sign. So here it will be 2 into minus 1.5, that is minus 3 electron volt. So the potential energy is minus 3 electron volt. Option D. Option D, Hariom. Okay. So all of you have answered this question incorrectly. This will be minus 3 electron volt, not anything else. Kinetic energy, potential energy, if you add them you get total energy. This formula is valid for satellites as well as electrons orbiting around a nucleus. Okay. A heavy nucleus having masses, mass number 200 gets disintegrated into two small fragments of mass number 80 and 120. If the binding energy per nucleon for parent atom is 6.5 MeV and for daughter nuclei is 7 MeV and 8 MeV respectively, then the energy released in the decay is x into 110 MeV. Find the value of x. Very easy. Mass number was 200, binding energy per nucleon was 6.5. So what is the total binding energy? Total binding energy was 6.5 into 200. Okay, so that will be 13. 6.5 into 2 is 13, so 1300 MeV. So this is the binding energy for the parent nucleus. Now what about the daughter nuclei? Daughter nuclei is 80 has 7 MeV, so 7 into 80, so 560, and 120 has 8 MeV, so 8 into 120, that will be 960 MeV. So if you add these two, you will get 0, 2, in hand 1, 14, 15. So 1520 MeV. So how much energy will be released? Energy released will be difference between these two. So the energy released in this process is 1520 minus 1300, that is 220 MeV. But in the question they have made the answer slightly tricky by adding an x, so it will be 2 into 110 MeV. So the correct answer for x is 2. Correct answer for x is 2. Easy question, just they tried to make the answer slightly complicated by multiplying x, looking like it's a JEE problem. Actually it is not JEE problem, it's a very simple easy KCET level problem. Okay, so you just need to be careful. You need to understand that the total energy is mass number into binding energy. Mass number into binding energy per nucleon gives you the total binding energy. This is the total binding energy. Okay, then difference in binding energy, obviously the binding energy increases when nucleus do the fission process or fusion process. Any process, total binding energy after the process happened always increases. Okay, so here we get 1520 MeV as binding energy, final binding energy. So what is the difference between these two? That much energy is always released. This much energy will be released, and this value they have not asked, they have just given it a factor of 110. So if you multiply by 2, you get the factor. Okay, now next question. Rutherford's alpha particle experiment Rutherford's alpha particle experiment showed that atoms have proton, nucleus, neutron or electrons. So what is the, yes, Fuzia, I am doing as far as possible. C for Chanda, C for Candy. So what is the answer this question? What is the which particle which was discovered by Rutherford? Which was discovered by Rutherford? Is it proton, is it nucleus, is it neutron or is it electrons? If you answer quickly, I will move forward quickly as well. B, yes, Tanjiro joined after some time. So nucleus was discovered by Rutherford's alpha particle experiment. Electrons was discovered by J.J. Thomson, and that happened before the discovery of before the experiment conducted by Rutherford. Okay, so correct answer is nucleus, and it was said that Rutherford is basically discovered nucleus. Next question, a coil having 500 turns, a coil having 500 loops of side 10 centimeter is placed normal to a magnetic field which increases at the rate of 1 Tesla per second. The induced EMF is, so induced EMF is number of turns into d phi by dt. Okay, now what is phi? Phi is given by area into magnetic field. Here it is a square loop, it is not a circular loop, it's a square loop. Okay, each side has 10 centimeter. So what is the area? Area is 10 into 10 to the power of minus 2 whole square, meter square. Okay, because it is in centimeter, you have to convert it into meter and then square it to calculate the area. So it will be 10 to the power of minus 2 meter square. This will cancel, one of the zeros will cancel, and then you have to square it. So you get 10 to the power of minus 2 meter square. So area is 10 to the power of minus 2. Magnetic field, change in magnetic field is given, so we can directly calculate d phi. Okay, because change in magnetic field is given, change in magnetic field is given as 1 Tesla per second. So d phi is 10 to the power of minus 2. And per second is also given, so dB by dt is given, so you can simply calculate d phi by dt directly. Number of turns is 500 and this is 10 to the power of minus 2, so it will be 5 volt. So the induced EMF is 5 volt. Correct answer option D. Okay, yes. Thanks, Hariom. Let's move on to the next question. In a series resonance LCR circuit, the voltage across resistance is 100 volt and R equals to 1 kilo ohm, C equals to 2 microfarad. The resonance frequency is 200 radian per second. At resonance, the voltage across L is. Very interesting question. So voltage across R is given, R itself is given, and resonance frequency is given, but nothing about the L is mentioned. Okay, they have given C. So how to solve it? Very complicated question, right? Actually no, you don't need to calculate L by using 1 by square root LC, etc., etc. Not required. Only thing you need to calculate is XC and current. Current is given by VR by R. Remember, here voltage across resistance is given, so you can use VR by R. Okay, and the circuit is also at resonance. So this is very, very important. You make the same mistake in your board exam where it was not, circuit is not in resonance, but you used this formula to calculate current and you lost marks there. Okay, so remember that this formula is only applicable in two cases: circuit is in resonance or voltage across resistance is given. So fortunately here both conditions are satisfied, so you don't need to worry about it. 1 kilo ohm means 10 to the power of 3. So you get this as the current in the circuit is 0.1. Current in the circuit is 0.1 ampere. Okay, now XC, if you calculate at resonance, XC is equals to XL. Okay, so if you calculate XC, you will get the XL value as well. Also, if you calculate, after you calculate XC, if you calculate voltage across capacitance, that should be equals to voltage across the inductor as well. So what is XC? XC is 1 by omega C. Omega is given, so no, do not use 2 pi FC. Omega itself is given, so that is 1 by 200 into 2 microfarad. Micro means 10 to the power of minus 6. So you can simplify this as 1 by 4 into 10 to the power of minus 4, or 10 to the power of 4 by 4. Okay, so this is XC, that is 10 divided by 4 into 10 to the power of 3, 2.5 into 10 to the power of 3 ohm. So this is the XC value. So VC and VL both should be same. What is VC? VC is nothing but XC into I. I we have calculated as 0.1 ampere, and XC we have calculated 2.5 into 10 to the power of 3 into 0.1. So that will be 2.5 into 10 to the power of 2, that is 250 volt. 250 volt is the voltage across XC, and same voltage will be across the L as well. Do not calculate L and try to solve it. You do not need to do that. C is given. You can directly use to calculate the capacitive reactance, and capacitive reactance you can calculate the voltage across XC. The same voltage will be dropped across L as well. This is the method that you should use, because circuit is at resonance, and in your in your KCET exam, if there is a question as difficult as this, the circuit will be at resonance. Okay, so if the circuit is at resonance, your 90% difficulty level actually reduces, because XL and XC are equal, so they cancel each other. Now next question, an inductance of 200 by pi millihenry, a capacitance of 10 to the power of 3 divided by pi farad, and resistance of 100 ohm are connected in series with the AC source of 220 volt 50 hertz. The phase angle in the circuit is, so phase angle is tan phi equal to XL minus XC by R. Now always take the modulus, because you do not know which one is greater, which one is less, so always take the modulus on this side. So XL is given by 2 pi F into L. So remember, in KCET exam, if they ask you question like this, the L will be given such that this pi cancels, so you do not need to worry about the pi. Okay, it is 200 by pi. Millihenry you have to convert by multiplying 10 to the power of minus 3. So pi cancels, 1 2 3 zeros, and 10 to the power of minus 3 cancels, so only 2 into 5 into 2 left, so that is 20 ohm. So XL is 20 ohm. What about XC? XC is 1 by 2 pi F into C, so that is 1 by 2 pi F 50. C is 10 to the power of minus 3 by pi. Again pi cancels, and you get 10 to the power of 3 divided by 100, that is 10 ohm. So XL and XC are calculated. Now you can calculate the phase difference, which is 20 minus 10 by resistance here is given 10 ohm. So 10 by 10, that is 1. So phase angle is pi by 4 or 45 degrees. Okay, so it is pi by 4. Option B is correct answer. Right, next question. Two solenoids of equal number of turns have their lengths and the radii in the same ratio 1:2. The ratio of their self-inductances will be. So what is the formula for self-inductance of a solenoid? It is mu naught number of turns. Now here number of turns, total number of turns is given, so we have to use mu naught n square L. Okay, so this is the into area, I think. Yes. Now here it is mentioned that two solenoids of equal number of turns, their lengths and radii are of the same ratio. So suppose this is the just a second. Now there is the same formula based on number of turns per unit length is given. Okay, here they have given the equal number of turns, not number of turns per equal length. So same formula can be written as, remember this is very tricky question, n square by L into A. Maybe you are familiar with this formula. This formula is valid when number of turns per unit length is given. This formula is valid when total number of length is given. Okay, because total number of turns is actually number of turns per unit length into length. Okay, so that is why this is the formula that we are going to use in this problem. So L1 equals to L1 A1. Now area is pi r square. So you get mu naught n square L1 pi r1 square. Okay, L2 mu naught n square L2 square, L2 into pi r2 square. Okay, now divide these two. L1 by L2 equals to L1 r1 square by L2 r2 square. Now it is said that the ratio of the lengths and radii. So ratio of length and radii is 1/2. So L1 equals to 2L1 equals to R1 and 2L2 equals to R2. Both have the same ratio. Okay, both have the same ratio. So if you put it over here, I don't think there will be any changes. So L1 into now there is one problem here. Their internal ratios are not given. Oh, okay, sorry. Lengths and are both are same ratio, means L1 by L2 equals to 1/2. R1 by R2 is also 1/2. Both of them have same ratio. Okay, that means L1 2L1 equals to L2 and 2R1 equals to R2. Now put that over here. So L1 R1 square by 2L1 into 2R1 square. So it will be L1 R1 square by 8 L1 R1 square. So cancels, we get 1/8. So the ratio is 1/8 by, I think 1/8 is not given. I don't know why it is not given. Anyway, it will be 1:8. The answer is not given. It can be considered as. Naresh Kumar, after the class is over, it will be shared. Okay. After the class is over, you will get the PDF. Now, next question. A 1.0 meter long metallic rod is rotated with the angular frequency of 400 radians per second. 400 radians per second about an axis normal to the rod passing through its one end. A constant and uniform magnetic field of 0.5 Tesla parallel to the axis exists everywhere. The EMF developed across the ends of the rod is. So EMF developed when a rod is rotating in an external magnetic field. Okay, the EMF developed across the rod is given by half B omega L square. This is a formula that you have to remember. This formula can be derived using integration, but not required. So magnetic field here is given as 0.5. The speed is given here 400 radian per second. Remember, omega has to be in radian per second, not in RPM or RPS. You have to convert the RPM or RPS. If it is given, you have to convert it into radian per second. And the length is 1 meter, so 1 square. So you get this as 0.5 into 400 is 200 divided by 2, that is 100 volt. So induced EMF is 100 volt in this case. Okay. Next, a transformer is used to light 140 watt 24 volt lamp from 240 volt AC mains. The current in the main cable is 0.7 ampere. The efficiency of the transformer is. So here we have a transformer. This is the source, AC source, and here we have the secondary with the bulb, okay, or the lamp. So here the rating of the lamp is 140 watt 24 volt, and the input here is 240 volt. The input current is 0.7 ampere. So what is the, first of all, what is the power of the input? Power of the input is 240 into 0.7. You don't need to calculate the output current, directly calculate the power of the source. Okay, so that will be 24 into 7, which is 168, right? 168 is the power input. This is the power input, and the power output that you are getting is 140. Okay, so what is the efficiency? Efficiency is nothing but the power output you are getting divided by power input into 100%. Okay, if both are equal, then you get 100% efficiency, but here both are not equal, so you will not get 100% efficiency. So you can do one thing. For simpler calculation, you can write 140 by 24 into 7. That will help me to cancel faster. So 20, and you get 4 5s are 6. So 5 by 6 into 100%. Okay, 5 by 6 into 100%, which will be closer to 3 in, and it will be 50, and 250 by 3, which will be closer to 83%. So it will be closer to 83%. So option C is correct. Okay. Next question. So remember, input current is given, input voltage is given. Current into voltage gives you the power, input power. Output power rating of the bulb is given. Output power rating of the bulb is given. So that means you must produce this much output power so that the bulb can operate quietly. You don't need to use the method, calculate current, etc., not required. Even this voltage is not required at all. Okay, only thing that you require is input voltage, input current is provided. So you just multiply them to calculate input power. Output power has to be the power rating of the bulb, so that is 140 watt given in the question. So input power is 168 watt, output power is 140, then the so efficiency will be output power divided by input. Efficiency of a transformer is output power by input power into 100%. Okay, so remember this. Next, an alternating supply of 220 volt is applied across a circuit with resistance 22 ohm and impedance of 44 ohm. Okay, the power dissipated in the circuit is, so alternating supply 220 volt and resistance is 22 ohm, impedance is 44 ohm, the power dissipated in the circuit is. So how to calculate power dissipated? First, you calculate the current. How to calculate the current? Voltage divided by impedance. Now you don't need to calculate anything. Power itself, voltage itself is given, impedance also given. Okay, so current is 220 divided by impedance, that is 5 ampere. Okay, current here is 5 ampere. 22 is 22 into 1 is 10, 22 into 2 is 44, so it will be 5 ampere, that is the current. Now what is the power dissipated? How to calculate the power? Remember, power always dissipated only in the resistance. Any other component, the average power dissipated will be 0. Be it capacitance, be it inductance, average power dissipated is 0. Power is always dissipated only in the resistance, that is I square R, that is I square R. So 5 square into 22, so 25 into 22 is the power dissipated, that is 50 into 11, that is 550 watt. 550 watt is the power dissipated. Now if you are wondering how can we multiply these quickly, so 25 into 22 can be written as 25 into 2 into 11. Now 25 into 2 is 50, 50 into 11, that is 550. So this is a way to calculate faster. If you do that in your head, you will be able to solve some difficult calculations quickly in the exam. Okay, the impurity atoms with which a pure silicon may be doped to make it a p-type semiconductor. Okay, so silicon semiconductor, you are doping it to get a p-type semiconductor. That means the valency has to be 3. P is equal to VI power factor. Yes, you can do that. You can do that as well. Power factor, you have to calculate one step more. Why you do that? Impedance is given, right? Impedance is given, resistance is given. So you can calculate power factor and do that, or you can use simple, but that will be little tricky because power factor is half. Yes, that is also you can do that, but this is also okay. I square R is also okay. The impurity atoms with which pure silicon may be doped to make it a p-type semiconductor. What is the trivalent? Because for p-type, remember this, for p-type semiconductor we require trivalent, that is valency 3, and for n-type we require pentavalent. Okay, now here phosphorus is a pentavalent, boron is a trivalent, so this is the answer. Antimony is also trivalent, nitrogen is tetravalent. Nitrogen is not being used in semiconductor devices, so nitrogen is just a distraction. Okay, so correct answer will be boron because it is a trivalent. Remaining phosphorus and antimony are tetravalent. Nitrogen is a no, sorry, not tetravalent, sorry. Phosphorus and antimony are pentavalent. Nitrogen is tetravalent. Okay, now next, in a semiconductor diode, the barrier potential offers oppositions to. So what is the barrier potential? So when you construct a PN junction diode, after some time what happens, the electrons in the N type and holes in the P type, they reduce in this junction, and this is called the depletion region, and P type becomes negative, N type becomes positive, so you get a potential like this, and this potential is called barrier potential. Okay, to overcome the barrier potential, you have to add positive to the P, negative to the N, so that the diode can conduct. Okay, in a semiconductor diode, the barrier potential offers opposition to holes in P region only, free electrons in N region only, majority carriers in both region, majority as well as minority. So what is the answer for this question? So in a barrier potential actually offers resistance to majority carriers only. Minority carriers drift in the presence of this depletion region. Okay, so majority carriers try to move in the opposite direction, minority carriers move in the opposite direction. So minority carriers remain unaffected, only majority carriers are not able to flow. So only majority carriers in both regions, that is holes in P regions, electrons in N region, both are getting repelled. Okay, but the minority carriers, they sneak behind. Now next question, in a reverse biased, when applied voltage changes by 1 volt, the current is found to be changed by 0.5 microampere. The reverse bias resistance of the diode is very simple. Reverse bias resistance of the diode is voltage divided by current. Voltage divided by current. Ohm's law is applicable. This is dynamic resistance. Okay, this is a dynamic resistance, but still you can apply this. So voltage is 1 volt, the current is 0.5 microampere. Okay, that means 10 to the power of 6 divided by 0.5, that is 2 into 10 to the power of 6 ohm. Reverse bias resistance is very, very high for a diode, which is 2 into 10 to the power of 6 ohm. Okay. Next question, when P, only 7 more questions after this. Okay, hopefully we will be completed before 4. Mahesh is saying 100% B in the last option. Yes, correct. Now answer this, 100% answer for this question. When PN junction diode is forward biased, the depletion region is reduced and barrier height is increased. The depletion region is widened, barrier height reduced. Both depletion region and barrier height are reduced. Both depletion region and barrier height are increased. So what is the 100% answer for this? Darshan, Darshan, just for your confirmation, if you follow our channel regularly, I am the loudest teacher of all. Okay, my voice is, maybe my shrill is little less, but my sound is always the highest among all the teachers. Okay, so if you are not able to hear my voice, means there can be two things: your device volume can be low, or you are not watching using a headphone or earphone. Use a earphone, that will give you a better sound quality. Okay, I can guarantee that. So PN junction diode is forward biased, then what is the correct answer? Option C, yes. Both depletion region and barrier height are reduced. Okay, forward biased, both depletion region and barrier height reduced. In reverse biased, both increased. That's why reverse bias resistance is very, very high. Magnifying power of a telescope can be increased by increasing the length of the telescope, focal length of the objective, the diameter of the objective, focal length of the eyepiece. Now answer this question as well. How can you increase the magnifying power of a telescope? Magnifying power of a telescope, how you can increase? Which question? Distortion, answer 54. 54 question. I am not. Sir, what could be the toughness of KCET this year? Sahil is saying. So toughness of the KCET paper generally remains same. Okay, from time to time they give one or two very difficult question. Okay, 2024 there was a controversy happened because of the some questions are out of syllabus. Otherwise, all throughout, okay, one or two questions will be very, very difficult. Remaining 58 questions will be easy. Easy means solvable within the time. If you practice enough, remaining 58 questions you can answer in within time. Now if you are slightly less prepared, 50 questions you should always try to attempt genuinely. Okay, genuinely means properly. Remaining 7-8 questions you can use Tukka strategy, but otherwise at least 50 questions if you are solving properly, methodically, then you should get a good rank. Okay, 50 questions should be your target. Remaining 7-8 10 questions you can use Tukka strategy, but do not use Tukka strategy for all 60 questions, then you are doomed. Okay, so we know that magnifying power of a telescope is given by f of objective divided by f of eyepiece. Okay, magnifying power of a telescope is given by f of objective divided by f of eyepiece. So if you increase the focal length of objective, you will get the you can increase the magnifying power of the telescope. I think there is a wrong answer here. Answer given here is wrong. Magnifying power of a telescope is FO by FE. I think I am wrong, because the answer given here is okay. Maybe magnifying power of a telescope is FE by FO. Yes. So if you increase the focal length of the eyepiece, that should be the answer. Sorry, my mistake. I got 76 in second PUC. How many I can take in KCET exam? Mahesh, as much as possible. Okay, you should target at least 50 plus in all subjects. Okay, 50 plus in all subjects will give you 150 plus. If overall you get around 160, okay, if you overall get 160 out of 180, that should be a very good marks. Okay, so that 150 is minimum for a good rank. 160 if you get, then you can get a rank well below 5000. Okay, but it does not matter only on physics. Okay, it matters on total marks of PCM. Maybe you got less marks in physics. If you got good marks in mathematics and chemistry, still that is fine. Okay, I am assuming 76% you are saying. If you got 76%, then 150 plus is minimum to get a good rank. The index of refraction of diamond is 2.0. The velocity of light in diamond is approximately. So velocity of light in a medium is given by C divided by N. Very simple formula. C is 3 into 10 to the power of 8. N given here is 2. So 1.5 into 10 to the power of 8. Okay. So velocity of light in a medium is given by speed of light in vacuum divided by refractive index. So from here, correct, not this one, yes, this one. this one, because here answer is given in centimeter per second, this is in meter per second, so that means 1.5 into 10 to the power of 10 centimeter per second. So don't be afraid if you see that, oh, 10 to the power 10 is given, because the unit is given in centimeter per second, just to confuse you. Okay. Okay, Anupama, because your name is coming as Mahesh, I think that is your someone from your family, right? Distortion 35, no, it is 55. It is 55, right? A is the answer. Now next question, the power and type of lens by which a person can see clearly the distance object if the person cannot see objects beyond 40 centimeter r. Okay. So it cannot see clearly the distant objects. That means he is suffering from hypermetropia. Okay, that means the power of the lens will be negative. Obviously it is a concave lens. Now all the options are given as negative, so you have to be so convex lens cannot have negative power, so these two are wrong. Okay, and the person cannot see an object which is distant. That means it has to be a concave lens, and hypermetropia, it's actually class 10th level problem. So minus and concave lens is the correct combination. So either A or C will be correct. So if you want to guess, you have to guess one of these two. Now how can you solve this question? So we know that 1 by V minus 1 by U equals to 1 by F, right? Now normally if the object is at 40 centimeter, it has to appear at infinity so that the person can see that clearly. Okay, so for 40 centimeter the object distance will be infinity. So I think I am doing correctly. No, I think the object which is at 40 centimeter, they will form at infinity, right? So yes, so F is minus 40 centimeter. F is minus 40 centimeter, so power is 100 divided by minus 40, that is minus 2.5 D. Okay. So basically what happens is that the person cannot see an object which is at 40 centimeter, right? So when you wear a lens, okay, when you wear the lens, even though I have solved it correctly, there is a small mistake. So when the object is located at infinity, when the object initially located at infinity, it should form a virtual image exactly at 40 centimeter. Okay, so that means it will be the image distance, the image distance will be 40. Okay, the object distance will be infinity. So the object which is at infinity, very far away, for example you are observing a star. Okay, so when you are observing it, you cannot see beyond 40 centimeter, but how you will be able to observe the stars in the sky? So U will be infinity, V will be minus 40. Okay, V will be minus 40 because it's a virtual image, the infinity is coming closer, so V will be minus 40. Both are on the same side of the lens, so that's why V is minus 40. And obviously I have even though I have solved it correctly, there was a small mistake. Okay, so it will be 1 by F is 1 by 40. Okay, so F is equal to minus 40 and you can use it. Okay. Now, next question, the focal length of a biconvex lens, correct answer is option A. Correct answer option A. Focal length of a biconvex lens of refractive index 1.5 is 0.06 meter. Radii of curvature are in the ratio 1:2, then the radii of curvature of the two surfaces are. So focal length is given by mu minus 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. Right? Now it is biconvex lens. Biconvex lens means this one is positive, this one is negative by nature. Okay, but the ratio is given r1 by r2 is given 1:2. That means r2 equals to 2r1. But remember that r1 is positive, r2 is negative. For a convex lens, this is r1, this is positive, this is r2, this is negative. Sign convention is important, otherwise you will mess it up. Okay, focal length is given 0.06 meter. So we will keep that in meter only. Refractive index 1.5 minus 1 by r1 minus 1 by minus 2r2. Okay, so minus becomes positive, so 0.5 into 1 by r1 plus 1 by 2r1. So if you add this, 0.5 into 2r1, 2 plus 1, that is 3 into 0.5 by 2r1. So you get 1.5 by 2r1. Now this is equals to 0.06. So if you cross multiply, r1 equals to 1.5 by 2 into 0.06, or you multiply 0.03. So 0.03 into 1.5 will be 0.045. Okay, 3/15 are 45, then you adjust the decimals, you will get this 0.045. Okay, so r1 we have calculated, r2 will be 2 into 0.045, that is 0.09. So 0.045 and 0.09 is the correct answer. Okay, you cannot guess the answer, you have to solve it. Because if you see, after solving this much, if you think that I will check the options, all the options have the same ratio. Okay, but only one of them is giving you the correct answer. You have to solve it. There is no other way. Back calculation method will also not work. That can be lengthy if you are solving it incorrectly. Okay, slightly tricky question, but not difficult one. Now let's solve the other one. In interference experiment using waves of same amplitude, path difference between the waves at a point on the screen is lambda by 4. The ratio of intensity at this point with the central bright fringe is. So you have to find the ratio of intensity at this point with the central bright fringe. Central bright fringe has an intensity of 4I0. So when you are using two lights, both having intensities I0 and I0, okay, then central bright fringe happens at the position where the path difference is 0. Okay, so in that case the brightness is 4I0. For any other location, the intensity is given by 4I0 cos square phi by 2. What is phi? Phi is the phase difference. So phase difference is given by 2 pi by lambda into path difference. Phase difference, relationship between phase difference and path difference is, phase difference is 2 pi by lambda into path difference. Here path difference is given lambda by 4. So 2 pi by lambda into lambda by 4. So that means lambda cancels and you get pi by 2. So phase difference is pi by 2. So what is the intensity? Intensity will be 4I0 cos square pi by 4, because there is a pi by 2, 5 by 2 over here. Okay, pi by 4 means, what is the value of cos pi by 4? Cos pi by 4 is root 2. Pi by 4 means 45 degrees. Pi by 4 means 45 degrees. That means cos 45 is root 2. So root 2 square, that is 4I naught root 2 whole square. Okay, so that means you will get sorry, I think I made a mistake. I1 plus I2, yes, I made a mistake. This will be 2I naught. 2I naught cos square 5 by 2. Okay. So this will be 4I naught as well. So both of them have same intensity. So this is also a bright fringe, this is also a bright fringe. So both bright fringes will have the same intensity. So the ratio of intensity is I1 by I2. So this is I1, this is I2, okay, will be 1. Okay, ratio of their intensities will be 1. In case they are not, one of them are falling behind between a bright and a dark fringes, the ratio can be changed. Otherwise, remember that central bright fringe will always have a brightness equals to 4I naught. The graph between angle of deviation and incidence for a triangular prism is represented. Easy question directly from your textbook. So angle of deviation into angle of incidence is given by this graph. Okay, straightforward, direct graph, no another hidden logic behind it. Simply you remember this graph, you answer it, you get full marks. Okay, next, last question of the day. So we are closing it before 4 p.m. If two sources are coherent, then the phase difference phi between the wave produced by them at any point will change with time, and we will have stable position of maxima and minima. So what is the question? Two sources are coherent, then the phase difference phi between the wave produced by them at any point will change with time and will have stable positions of maximum and minimum, will not change with time and we have unstable positions of maximum and minimum, will not change with time and we will have stable positions of maximum and minimum, will change with time, we will have unstable positions of maximum and minimum. So basically when the sources are coherent, okay, maximum and minimum are stable. That means they do not change with time. Stable means if you observe a pattern, interference pattern, okay, you will get a clear maximum. Maximum means dark band, and then there is a dark band and bright band consecutively one after another, okay, and it will be stable because the sources are coherent. Coherent sources will give you constant brightness of maximum and minimum. So this is a stable configuration. Now when we will get stable configuration? If the phase difference remains constant. For a particular point, the phase difference, if it is constant, then only we will always get bright over here, always dark over here, same the order, okay. So bright, dark, this will only possible when the phase difference is constant. So phase difference will not change with time and we will get a stable configuration. Phase difference will not change with time and we will have a stable position of maxima and minima. So both are actually required to obtain stable configuration, and stable configuration is only possible because of coherent sources. If the sources are not coherent, the maximum and minimum position will change with time and the positions are completely unstable, basically what you will get equally illuminated surface. So there will be actually no maximum or minimum, even though it will happen, but you will not be able to observe it because it will happen so fast that your eye will not be able to catch it, and you will eventually observe a equally bright surface. Okay, that one reason is that when you try to capture a screen, mobile screen or TV screen using your mobile phone, you will see some pixelated or some dark and bright bands inside that. But when you are observing using your normal eye, you generally do not see that kind of band. Why? Because camera is actually capturing faster, and it can capture the interference which is happening there because of the difference in phases, but your eye actually not sensitive enough to capture that interference pattern. Okay, so next time when you take the picture using your mobile phone over a screen or TV or another mobile phone, remember that the picture coming not as good because of the fact that your eye is not fast enough. Okay, so that is why we generally see a equally bright, equally illuminated surface rather than seeing diffraction and interference every now and then. So this is the end of today's lecture. Okay, and the question paper that we have discussed is from ABHYAS test series. The paper will be uploaded in our server once more, and you can download it. But if you really want to get involved in ABHYAS, the offer was there. Some of you have taken it, some of you are not taken it. I think the price is gone back to the previous price as well right now. So there is still time. If you really want to join ABHYAS, you can join it. If you have joined it, then this paper, ABHYAS test paper 4. Okay, this is ABHYAS test paper 4. So you can check and check the tally the solution with you. Okay, so I wish you all the best for your preparation. I will be back with another session tomorrow where we will be discussing 2025 paper. Okay, Shashikant, what is your question? 58B, you are saying 58B. Let's see. So what is your question, Shashikant? Shashikant Vidya Kulkarni. Badman Sharma is saying, sir, 278 out of 300 in PCM, how much should I get? If you really want, you can get a rank below 1000 with your marks. For that you have to score 160. If you are scoring 160, you will get under 1000 rank. If you are slightly compromising with your rank, you can score 140 to 150 to get a rank below 2500 to 3000. Okay. Naresh Kumar, PDF will be shared in our WhatsApp channel. Once the lecture is over, I will upload it into the drive, and our admin will share the link into the WhatsApp channel. I will ask them to share. Okay. I got 93 in physics. How much should I take in KCET? Shashikant, you cannot only consider the physics marks. You have to consider the total marks of physics, chemistry, and maths together. Okay, that is the requirement. Yes, sorry. I think I made a mistake here. This one is correct. This is 4I0. Okay, this is also 4I naught. I made a mistake here, 4I naught into 1 by root 2 whole square. Sorry, I used root 2. My bad. It will be 4I naught into 1 by 2. So that is 2I naught. Okay, so 2I naught and 4I naught. So ratio is, yes, the ratio is I1 I2 by I1 is 4I naught by 2I naught, 2I naught by 4I naught, which is 0.5. Yes, so answer is B for this. Correct, you are correct, Siddhant. Total marks 283. So if you score 160 plus, as I mentioned, 160 plus, that will secure your rank close to 1000. Okay, but that can change based on the paper this year. If the paper is little harder or little easier, based on that mark can change. But from the previous years of experience, the level of paper, if that remains same as last 4-5 years, then 160 plus will give you a rank around 1000. 140 to 150 will give you a rank 3000. Okay. Badman Sharma, what is your how much you scored in PUC? Oh, you got 278 in 300 and you are getting a rank for 25,000. For that 120, 100, 120 is okay. Okay, Badman Sharma, 120, if you get 100 to 120, you can get a 25,000 rank. Even below that you might get if you are lucky. Okay. Yes, Narashima, I have corrected it. Narashima, I have corrected the answer. If you check, I have corrected the answer. So 0.5 is option B. Okay. I made a mistake that I took 1 by root 2, I have taken is at root 2. That's what my mistake is. Okay. Okay, thank you everyone. And all the marks versus rank video, there will be a video on marks versus rank. Remember that there will be a mark versus rank video after the KCET exam is over, because we need to check the level of the difficulty. As I mentioned last year, based on the last year's difficulty, if you want a 1000, below 1000 rank, 270 plus and 160 plus is the combination. Okay, if you want a rank below 5000, 270 plus, you can score up to 130, 140 will get a rank below 5000. If you want a rank say 10,000, below 10,000, again 130 should be fine. 25,000, 110, 100, that should be fine, right? Okay. Do I reattempt the physics paper? I got 93. I don't think so. Vardharaj, it is 93 is a decent good mark. Okay, you do not need to. If you thought that okay, I have prepared well enough for 100 marks, but somehow I made some silly mistakes, then you can reattempt. It will happen after your KCET exam, so you can reattempt it after your KCET exams are over. Okay, if you think okay, I will only reattempt, but reattempt is good only when you are reattempting one subject. If any subjects you are well below of 80, then you should reattempt that subject. But you remember that you have to prepare all the chapters again, you have to solve all the numericals again. So if you have that patience in you, if you think that okay, I can do it, then you can reattempt it. Okay. Mahesh, PDFs will be shared in the WhatsApp channel. Okay. Tomorrow, Mahesh, there will be a live paper solution of 2025. Okay. See you in tomorrow's class. Till then, bye.